So this is my mom, Rita Dennis, and I am interviewing her for future generations. Rita grew up with 12 siblings, so we're going to ask some questions about that. We're going to talk about her childhood. We're going to talk about some of her early life experiences, meeting my dad, and raising 3 boys. And then we'll end with some final thoughts. So, Mom, can you tell me your whole name?
Rita Ann Dennis.
Okay, where were you born?
I was born at Selfridge Air Force Base in just outside of Detroit.
Okay. How long did you live in Michigan?
I lived in Michigan till I was 17. I spent 3 months of my 17th year in Michigan, and then I went to Barstow, California.
Okay. What's your earliest memory that you can remember today?
I was 3 years old. I remember my aunt being in a really bad car accident. She was in a body cast, and she wiggled her toes at me. And I remember screaming my lungs out.
Okay. Now you were the oldest of 12 brothers and sisters. How many boys and how many girls?
There were 6 boys and 6 girls.
Okay. How much older are you than the next person born?
14 months.
Only 14 months. So your parents were very busy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What was it like growing up with that many siblings?
Sometimes very fun because we had each other to play with. Other times very lonely because I was the oldest. I had to be more of a disciplinarian than I was the oldest sister. It just depended on the circumstance of if it was good or if it was bad.
What was the name of your dad?
My dad was Ewald John Bechter.
Okay. Tell me what he was like.
I had a different relationship with my dad than the rest of my siblings. My dad and I talked a lot. We had a lot of interactions with each other. But he was also very strict and could be very cruel, especially if he was drinking.
Okay. What was your mom's name?
Audrey Rita Bechter.
And I know as of this video being filmed, this is September 22nd of 2025. Grandma is still alive.
Yes, she's 90 years old.
Okay. What was she like growing up? Besides really busy.
She was very busy. She was very strict. She was very hard on us girls. She wanted us to learn to be good housewives when we grew up. She wanted us to know how to cook and clean and take care of children.
You were born in August 29th of 1953.
Yes.
And so that was, during that time, that was what was expected of women.
Yes.
Okay, so that's different than the norms today.
Right.
How does that make you feel?
I'm very happy with the way I was raised. I don't have any bad feelings about that. I learned what I needed to learn. It helped me with my married life and raising my children. And I feel I did the best I could with raising my sons. When I was first born, as I grew up, I realized that my father was very demanding and cruel. when he wanted to be, and he did not have the respect he should have had for my mom.
Yep. And I think sometimes roles have reversed in this day and age,
Yes.
right? Where a lot of males now are taking care of stuff. Forever, males were always told they didn't do they went to work, they came home, they did nothing. They were
Right.
waited on hand and fist by the female or the spouse.
And the children.
And it's kind of changed a little bit, which is
Yeah.
interesting from when you grew up. Let's talk a little bit more about your childhood. Describe a typical day in your household with your siblings.
My alarm would go off at 6:30 in the morning. If my mother did not hear my feet hit the floor right after that alarm, she was screaming at the top of her lungs for me to get up. My job was to get up, get dressed, get my brothers and sisters up, them all get ready for school or for the day, depending on what age. I then had to go downstairs, make breakfast, make lunches, and leave by 8 o'clock to go to school. The day was full. When we got home, we had chores to do and homework and take care of the younger kids and then get ready to go back to bed and be
start
up
all
again
over.
a full day.
Okay. What was your favorite meal that your mom used to make?
Definitely not liver. I don't think I really had a favorite meal. She used to make this thing called surprise. I guess that would be the one that we ate more.
So what was in it?
It's sort of like a shepherd's pie. It was ground beef, and then she would layer vegetables and mashed potatoes on top. Sometimes she'd brush it with egg whites to get a crunchy top, and then other times just whatever would be the fastest to get us fed and finished.
Okay. Did you go to church?
Yes,
Okay.
We went.
What religion were you?
we were raised Catholic. We went to church every Sunday. During certain times of the year, we went more often when it was near Easter time with Good Friday and different things like that. Every once in a while, my mom would get a bunch of us to go with her to do a rosary or something like that. Excuse me. But we were definitely raised Catholic.
Did you always have a TV?
We did.
Black and white?
It was definitely black and white. My grandfather had a thing about Curtis Mathis TVs, and that's what we always had.
Okay.
His first one I ever saw that I remember had the little round face, about maybe 6-7 inch diameter.
That's almost the size of a cell phone.
Yes.
Or that is the size of a cell phone.
It was a round circle, but we watched that.
Okay. Do you remember any shows?
Yes.
What was your favorite show?
Well, it depended on if it was a morning one or if it was the afternoon one. The morning ones, we had Soupy Sales, which was very much like a Captain Kangaroo type. He would play to kids. He got himself in trouble for something he did, and I must not have been watching that day because I don't remember what he did wrong. But then after that, Captain Kangaroo took over, and so we watched that in the mornings. At night, it was depending on what program was on that my mother liked. And she was pretty much the one that decided what we could watch and what we couldn't. I was very, very upset with her when the Beatles came out. The night that they were on Ed Sullivan, she told us we couldn't watch them. So all of our friends watched the Beatles, 1964, and we could not. And she said the reason why she did that, I asked her years later, she said she was not allowed to watch Elvis Presley, so she wasn't going to let us watch the Beatles.
All right, let's talk about school.
Okay.
And then we'll get back to a little bit more about childhood. But I think this
Okay.
kind of all weaves its way around
Yeah.
a story. Did you graduate?
Yes,
Okay, so you went through kindergarten through 12th grade?
12th grade.
Okay. Did you go to public school or private school?
Private for part of it and public for the rest.
Okay. Were you a good student, bad student?
I was a straight A student.
Straight A student. Okay, so what was your favorite subject?
Actually, it was math until I got to geometry and I couldn't figure it out. But before that, I loved math.
Did you do any sports or any activities in school?
We didn't have enough time for that. That
Okay.
was not part of our family.
Too busy taking care of kids.
Yep.
What was your least favorite subject?
Reading,
Reading?
yes.
Okay, that's ironic because you
know.
became a reading
Teacher. Yes, I
later in
know.
life.
Yep.
Um,
There
what-
was reasons for that, though.
Okay.
One of the reasons were that my mother did not encourage us to read books, but when she did, she picked out the books, and she always picked Nancy Drew for the girls and the Hardy Boys for the boys. And I hated mysteries, and I did not want to read any books of Nancy Drew.
Now, as an adult, you became a lover of reading.
Yes.
And I remember all the romance books you used
Oh,
to
yes.
read.
Oh, yes.
Did you walk to school? Did you take a bus?
We walked to school.
Okay.
The reason, it depends though, because when I went to the Catholic school for 8 years, we took a bus, or our parents took us. But after that, for all my public school time, it was walking to school. So it just depended on which school we were going to at the time.
All right. Did you Did you join any clubs or anything?
I was part of the Honor Roll Society. That was the only club that my parents would allow us to be part of.
Okay. Best friends. Did you have a lot of friends in school? Did you have?
We had lots of friends, but my very best friend was Barb Churko.
And I know that you just reconnected with Barb after
Yeah.
a long, long time.
Yep.
Did you and Barb play any games?
We used to just hang around and talk about boys. So there wasn't really a lot of game stuff. We played pool. We listened to records.
Was it just at the school, or did you hang out at her house?
We
or-
hung out at her house, at my house. As we got older, we started hanging out at the Big Boy restaurant. We'd meet friends there and have lunch.
What did they serve?
Burgers and fries was the biggest thing for us. By then, I was working at a little restaurant, Steak Palace.
Do you remember how much a hamburger or French fries cost?
It wasn't very much money, I remember that. Maybe $1 for both. I'm not even sure if it was that much.
Okay.
We had a place called Top Hat Burgers, and they were only 11 cents.
Okay. Let's go back to family. And I know that out of your brothers and sisters, you had to have a favorite. So who is your favorite brother and sister? You can be honest.
Jimmy was my favorite.
Why?
There was just something about him that we always clicked. I remember him, I must have been, I would say maybe 9 or 10, and I would stand him up at the stove. He was around maybe 1 or 2, which is not safe in our times now, but he would stir the pudding until it was cooked and finally thick. And he used to love to do that, and so he spent a lot of time in the kitchen with us, with the girls. So he was a beautiful baby when he was born. He was 9 pounds, 11 ounces, and he was mine.
Which one of your siblings gave you the most trouble growing up?
My sister, Sharon. Sharon was 14 months younger than me. There was a lot of competition between the two of us. My father favored me, my mother favored her, and so there was a lot of getting even with each other, just not really liking each other very much.
Okay. So growing up, that's a lot of kids, and I imagine you guys didn't have the biggest house in the world. Did you share a room?
Oh, yes.
With who?
With Sharon and my sister Martha.
Okay.
There were 3 of us in that room.
Did you guys ever get in trouble for staying up late,
Oh, yes.
sneaking around?
Not so much sneaking around as my sister Sharon used to sit on the end of my bed and hang out the window talking to her boyfriend who lived next door. And I would get sick, I would get colds, and my mother would always yell at us that it's because we kept the window open. So,
Got it. Did your family celebrate holidays or birthdays?
yes.
Okay, that's a lot of birthday celebrations.
Yes.
So, what was the average, or what was the typical birthday that you can remember?
The only thing that I remember my mom really doing was she would try to bake us a cake. And it was not maybe on your birthday, it could be a week after, a week before. When she could afford to do it, that's what she would do.
What was your favorite flavor cake? She like chocolate, vanilla?
Chocolate.
Chocolate.
Because my father didn't like chocolate, I loved chocolate.
Okay. All right, that's enough about childhood. You remember what high school you graduated from?
Yes. Barstow
Barstow High School.
High School.
Okay. When did you start working?
I started working at age, I think it was 14.
Okay. What was your first job?
It was a restaurant. I shouldn't say a real restaurant. It was more of like a cafeteria style. We had a line where the people would bring trays up.
So you were a lunch lady.
Basically, yes.
Okay.
It was a steakhouse.
A steakhouse?
Yeah.
Do you remember how much you were paid?
I just remember $17 for a week.
$17 a week?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
I
nobody
ended
better
up-
be complaining.
I ended up $23 a week at the end of the time.
Whoa. Did you enjoy the job?
I did. I loved it.
So at 14, you were already working.
Yes. I had to have permission from the school that I would be able to work.
So you moved from Michigan, Detroit, to Barstow, California, the shithole of California.
Exactly.
Sandy desert. If you live in Barstow, I'm sorry if I offended you, but it's the truth. Did you work in Barstow?
I did work in Barstow.
What was your-
First I married and had a son,
Okay.
and then I started working at Husky Truck Stop.
So let's go back. You just said you were married and then you had a son and you started working again. When did you meet Dad?
I moved to California October, around the middle of the month. I met him the same day I got there, and we were engaged to be married by November 24th.
Wow, that was fast.
Yeah, and then we married in June.
What the hell possessed you to accept a marriage proposal from him?
Good question. I wanted to get out of the house. I couldn't stand being the oldest and having to deal with all the kids. It was a lot.
Okay, so how did you meet him?
The neighbors next door to where my mom lived, she was already there in California about 3 months before my dad and I got there from Michigan. She rented the house next door to this guy and his wife and their kids, and they knew Chet. And he was an apprentice at the phone company. So they begged my mom to let him see all of his kids so he could pick out somebody who he'd like to date. And that's how I ended up coming from St. Clair Shores, Michigan, and ended up meeting him that around the 15th of October.
Tell me what you did on your first date.
First date. We went to Del Taco in Yermo, California, and had a Coke. And that was it.
Was he awkward?
Yes, he was very awkward. I demanded that my brothers and sisters had to come with me. So we went. I took my brother Bill, my sister Martha, and my sister Sharon with us. And we all went and just got a Coke and then came home.
What made you go back out on a second date with him?
Because my mother forced me to. She said he was a nice guy and I needed to realize that he had a good job and that would be good for me. Even though I was only 17.
Do you remember how she just wanted you out of the house?
Yes, exactly.
Do you remember how he proposed?
Oh, yes. It was such a wonderful thing. We were at the movies, at the drive-in, and the movie MASH had just come out. And it was a rated R, and I was by then 17, so I was old enough to go. But he had told my sister ahead of time that he was going to ask me to marry him. So Sharon and I already had everything planned of what I was going to say. Well, instead, what he did was, how would you feel if I asked you to marry me? And so I didn't want to sound like I was too excited. So I waited for a few minutes to answer. And then I said, I guess that's okay. He says, well, I'm not asking.
Okay, so he thought he was sly.
Yeah, he thought he was, yeah.
Okay. Did you plan the wedding, or did your mom help you plan the wedding?
A little of both.
Do you remember where you got married?
Oh, yes. St. Joseph's Church.
Were all your brothers and sisters at the wedding?
Oh, yes.
Who was your ring bearer?
My ring bearer was my cousin, Frankie.
Who was your flower girl?
My sister, Mary.
And your maid of honor was Barb?
Nope.
Oh. Who was your maid of honor?
My maid of honor was Kathy, who was my sister-in-law when we were married.
Do you remember Dad's best man's name?
Yeah, John.
Oh, it was Uncle John.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, that makes it easy.
Yeah.
Okay. How were you accepted by Dad's dad? Or Dad's family, I guess.
Well, there was two parts of that. I was accepted very easily with my husband's father. He was a great man. He was so kind. He was very gentle with me. He never made me feel out of place. But his mother was very mean, and she hated me. because she knew my cousins and didn't like my cousins, so I also was labeled the same way.
So you're guilty by association.
Yes, exactly.
Now you got pregnant and had Todd in 1972.
Mm-hmm.
How old were you when you got pregnant?
When I got pregnant, I was 17.
Okay. And you had Todd when you were 18.
Yep.
Tell me how you felt getting pregnant, as far as not conceiving him. I'm
No.
talking about finding out that you were pregnant. Were you excited?
I
Were you
was
nervous?
very excited
Okay.
to find out. We had just traveled from Barstow back to Michigan to visit family. And I went with my friend Barb. I went with her to the hospital and took the test. And when I got home was when I found out it was positive. I was very excited. I felt I had completed my job as a young married woman, even though I was a kid, but I was very excited.
Did you want a boy or a girl?
I wanted a girl.
And you got stuck with 3 boys.
I wanted a girl because I wanted to be able to dress her up and have her all fancy.
Tell me about giving birth.
He
I
was
know
very,
he was a big boy.
He was a very big boy, 9 pounds, 9 pounds, 8.5 ounces.
And you shared with me he was the biggest kid born
That time.
at that day,
Yep.
right?
There was a little girl and Todd in the nursery, and they looked like 3-month-old kids rather than brand new newborns. And they were both over 9 pounds. Yeah. The pregnancy was easy. I mean, not really bad. I had morning sickness at the beginning for quite a while. But giving birth was a lot different than what I would have even thought. That's not something you think about during the pregnancy. You're not thinking so much about giving birth. But with the fact that he was such a big baby and I was so young, the doctor refused to give me anything to help me with the pregnancy. There was no epidurals or anything like that. They were afraid that if they gave me something, it would stop the contractions. So it was a very long whatever you call it, delivery. I was in labor, I think, for 24 hours.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it was a
It's
long
a long
one.
time with a big kid.
Yeah.
Was Dad allowed in the birthing room?
No,
So back then they didn't allow the dad at all.
no, he was in the hallway. He got to see Todd as they rushed him by in the little delivery cart thing they had. But that was it.
Tell me about how you felt the first time you got to hold him.
I was on cloud 9. I was so excited. I was happy he was finally here. I didn't have to deal with anything else, no more pain. That's one of the things I was so excited about here. I was in such heavy pain for labor, and then it was gone. And it was great.
So from Barstow, after you had Todd, you've been married, you had Todd.
Yep.
When did you decide to go back to work?
I had to go back to work. I would say Todd was about 1.5 years, 2 years old when I went back to work at Husky's at the truck stop because at that time your dad had been transferred to Arizona, and to be able to have the money we needed, I went back to work.
Tell me a story about the truck stop. How did the truck drivers treat you?
Oh, they were wonderful. They were great. They were very kind. Every night they would come in, and I had to know what orders they wanted. So they would laugh to see if they could trick me into mixing up the orders. When your dad would come on Friday nights, he'd come and he'd stay with me until I got off work. They would joke with him and laugh with him. They would threaten to steal me away. They were going to put me in the back of one of their trucks and take off with me. I had a very good relationship at the truck stop. I loved it.
Now, you told me a story that one of them brought you snow.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
The one man, his name was Snow. They all called him Snow. And his route was through Utah. And so he came through and he filled up his ice chest with snow and brought it to the truck stop because I hadn't seen snow for the whole time I was in California at that time. So he wanted me to have an ice cooler full of snow.
How long did you work at Huskies?
I'd say 2 years, because once your dad got transferred back, then we went to Texas. And so when I went to Texas, I stopped working at the truck stop.
Okay. Now, you ended up moving to Washington.
Yep.
And I don't know what the hell possessed you guys to stay here. It's not what you people think it is. Let's just say that. So you came up here. Do you remember how old Todd was when you moved to Washington?
He was going into kindergarten.
Okay. So he was going into kindergarten. So what, he was 5 or 6?
He was 4.
He was 4.
His birthday was in May, and he turned 5. His birthday was in May, and he went to school in September. So he had just turned 5.
Now, did you work when you came to Washington, or were you more a stay-at-home mom?
I was a stay-at-home mom. I babysat other people's kids in the apartment complex where we lived, but that was all I did.
Okay. Now, I know you ended up buying a house here in Tacoma.
Yes.
You guys have lived in this house for a ridiculous amount of time.
1979, we bought the house.
So 46 years is a long time to live in the same house.
Mm-hmm.
You raised Todd the rest of the time, and then you had me when Todd was 11 years old in 1983.
Yeah.
Why'd you guys wait so long?
We didn't plan on waiting. We wanted to have. I had 2 miscarriages between the time I had Todd and I had you. For some reason, they tried everything. They gave me fertility pills, everything for me to get pregnant again, and nothing worked. And then I said, forget it, I'm not going to deal with this anymore, and I got pregnant. I was so excited to have my next one.
So I was born in July of 1983, and then Ryan came right after, 17 months different. And at that point, you would have had an 11-year-old, so basically a preteen going into full-blown teenage
Well, he was
hormones.
12 by the time Ryan came.
Was born.
Yeah.
And then you had, you basically started over.
Yep.
With us 2 knuckleheads. How did it feel having 3 boys?
It was crazy. There was a lot of competition between you and Ryan because of you being young. But there was also a lot of competition with Todd. He would say things like, you don't buy me stuff at the store anymore. And I'd say, you want a He-Man or what? You know, and I would get upset with him, and he would shoot pennies out of his room.
I remember. I remember getting hit in the head with them.
He'd shoot them out the door at you and Ryan, and he'd get really upset with me because I didn't buy him whatever I was buying you guys. It was very funny to watch. But there was always competition there, even with him being older. He did go in the service, and that was a good thing because it helped him grow up and it helped you guys to be able to be kids. So it was a good thing there.
Now, you eventually ended up volunteering at our elementary school,
Yes,
and you started working at Southgate Elementary
yes,
as a paraeducator
yes,
focused on reading.
yes.
Tell me why you decided to do that instead of staying as a stay-at-home mom.
Well, I was volunteering at the school 4 days a week, and they had already given me my own reading group as a volunteer. So I thought, this is sort of silly to be doing this and not getting paid for it. One of the teachers, Mrs. Manalotto, told the principal that she had a volunteer that she knew was capable of teaching a reading group. So they conjured up whatever they could, had me fill out paperwork at the district office, and all of a sudden they hired me. And it took a while for me to get used to that role because the kids knew me as a volunteer. So they could goof around with me. I could spend time with them on the playground. I could do different things differently than once I was hired on. I had a strict schedule to follow, and that's what I had to do. I loved teaching.
I know you did. I know
Yeah.
you used to. Our whole life revolved around
The school.
the elementary school,
Yep,
Southgate.
yep,
Dad would be out of town, and we were there all day, and then we'd volunteer in the evening for certain
Yep.
events.
yep.
How long did you work for the school district?
I worked 20 years.
And you ended your career at the school district as a secretary.
Yes.
In your opinion, besides being a super rewarding job, if you were to do it again, would you choose that?
I would never have chosen to be a secretary.
Okay.
The reason is I loved working with the kids. I loved working with the parents. After I did the reading part, I started doing conflict mediation with the kids, and I had my own classroom where I could have a different role with the kids. And they started to trust me, that they could tell me problems they were having and I would help them solve it. And I loved every minute of working at the school. The last 2 years is when I was the head secretary, and I hated it. Not so much that the people I worked with, I mean, I loved working with our staff, but I didn't have the kids with me anymore. I couldn't go and teach a reading group. The parents treated me in a different manner, and I lost interest.
Do you have a favorite memory from Southgate?
Oh,
Something that
goodness.
stands out to you? I know there's a lot.
There's a lot of stuff. One of the things that I thought was so funny was I got rid of all the chairs at my table, at my reading group, and I bought the exercise balls, and we blew them up. Your dad and I blew them up, and the kids, I'll never forget, all of a sudden they'd all disappear. They'd roll right underneath the chair or right underneath the desk, and they were all gone. And they thought it was so funny to pop back up. And I loved doing that because I worked with the group that was the hardest to keep still. And those balls gave them the opportunity to be able to move and not any other. I loved it. I loved it.
So how old were you when you retired?
I was 60.
You were 60 years old.
Yep.
And you went on to retire, but not really retire, because then you became a babysitter again and have babysat your grandkids.
Yes.
How many grandkids do you have right now?
I have 6.
So 6 that are blood related. And then you have, I don't know how many of them that have come around and
They
you've
all
watched
call me
them
grandma.
and call you grandma.
Yeah.
In my eyes, Mom, you have spent almost your entire life as a caretaker,
Yep.
raising children and
Taking care of your dad.
taking care of dad, taking care of family.
Yep.
That's hard.
Yep.
That is something that I don't think a lot of people in today's age really recognize or understand. But it is something that is really special because there's not that many people like you. You've spent your entire life doing that.
All of my life.
Your entire life, yes.
Yep. From the time I was a little girl.
Yep, you helped
All the way.
help semi-raise your brothers and sisters, or took
Yep.
care of them, took responsibilities.
Yes.
You helped them with chores, you helped them getting ready for school. You then got married at a young age, had Todd at a young age, raised 2 more boys after that, and then dedicated your life to a school district and a school, teaching kids how to read, and conflict mediation,
Yep.
becoming a secretary where you help their families, and then afterward you babysat your grandkids and have helped kind of semi-raise your grandkids. Sometimes for weeks on end or months on end you would have Annika.
Yep. But I've loved every minute of it.
Those memories, when you look back, out of all of the people that you've cared for, who was the easiest person to deal with or to help raise?
Oh, goodness.
And I know it's not me and
easiest.
Ryan.
And it's not Allison. I would have to say Connor. Connor was pretty much easy. I don't remember Connor giving me half the back talk that I get from Allison. She's a sweetheart, she's kind, but she has such a mouth on her.
I know Ryan and I tortured the hell out of you.
Yeah, but Nicholas, I spent a lot of time over the summers. I remember him, and I can picture it in my mind, of him standing at the counter smashing strawberries to make jam. He always wanted to do things. We used to go for walks all the time, and we'd collect leaves and make plates with all these leaves all over it.
I don't remember it because I think I was out of the house and working.
Yes.
So I don't
And
remember.
you were going to school.
That stuff. So let's reflect on your legacy. What's the hardest time in your life that you've had to deal with?
When your dad got hurt.
From his car accident?
The car accident and then the MRSA.
I think it's just dad in general.
Yeah.
It's been the biggest pain in the ass.
That is true.
And in both cases, you became not only a wife,
A caretaker.
you had to be a caretaker, you had to be a friend, you had to listen to his griping and bitching and moaning.
Yes.
You had to become a nurse. I mean, a
Yes.
caretaker in the whole sense of making sure
Everything.
he cleaned himself, making
Yes.
sure he was fed, making sure he had his meds.
Yep.
That took up over a year of your life just doing the MRSA treatment.
Right.
And then during his car accident, it was years.
Yep.
Not only supporting him in the hospital, but then in a nursing home, and then in the rehab for years after,
Yep.
and then in the multitude of surgeries that he had since.
Yeah.
So again, constantly taking care of somebody else.
Yep. That is true.
Now, you had cancer.
Yes.
What type of cancer did you have?
I had uterine cancer in 2000.
I want to share with you this thought. I asked you what the hardest time of your life was, and it wasn't about your cancer diagnosis or all the things that you've had go on. It was somebody else. And that's a selfless thought, Mom. And that's not something to be upset about.
No, that is, though, the way women used to be raised. That is the example I saw from my grandmother, from my mother. That's what you did.
So you had uterine cancer.
Mm-hmm.
I was 18 at the time, an ignorant moron, watching you go through it. Were you scared?
Oh, yes.
Now, you ended up having surgery,
Yeah.
and you've been cancer-free for the last 20 plus years. Oh,
25 years.
25 years.
Yeah. Annika's age, because I had my surgery when she was a baby.
Again, it's interesting that you don't consider that the hardest time of your life. I'm really proud that you're my mom.
Thank you.
You've done an incredible job raising us, and I can't think of a kinder, nicer, more patient person, and I'm sure other people say that about their moms.
I'm sure a lot of people, they don't see the bad. They only see what you've done good.
But
But that's not always. That's not everyone.
You've done a lot good, Mom.
Mm-hmm.
You really have. If you could live one day of your life again, what day would it be?
It would definitely not be my marriage. I know that sounds selfish, but
No, it doesn't.
I would not.
54 years of his ass is a long time.
Yes, exactly. He says he would do it again and marry the same person. I would not.
So is there a day that you'd want to relive?
I would like to relive my wedding day
Your wedding day?
on a different person.
And say, okay.
I was too young to know better. I appreciate him more now because we're older and we understand more of life. But I was a 17-year-old kid, and I would definitely have thought other things.
Now, you just turned 71.
72,
You're 72?
yes.
Wow, I'm totally off. 72 years old.
Yep.
I feel like a terrible son.
Oh, no.
Did
Your dad did the same thing the other day. He kept telling everybody he was going to be 76. I said, no, you're going to be 77. We're 5 years apart.
Did you ever think you'd make it to 72?
No. I thought my father would kill me as a teenager. I had my bags packed, always in my drawers. They were in paper bags because I thought one of these days he's going to kill me or he's going to threaten to kill me and I'm going to have to run. So, but I don't want to sound like I thought bad of my dad. We did have a good relationship, him and I. I just was a terrible daughter in my teens.
We were all terrible in our teens. All right, so 72 years of being on this planet. If you were to think about all your experiences, raising children, becoming a wife, working a job, what would be the best advice that you would impart to your great-great-great-grandkids?
To always be true to yourself. Take care of yourself first. Because too many times I didn't. And I have resented myself for not putting myself first. And it's something that every person should be able to do.
What do you want your grandchildren and great-grandchildren to remember about you?
I want them to remember that I was kind, that I cared, and I never gave up on any of them. None of them.
And I think that it's important to get a perspective from an individual who's at your stage of life. So at 72 years old, you are what we would consider over the hill.
Oh, yes. Yep.
So you're headed back down. Now, I know that you have longevity in your family.
Doesn't mean that would be for me.
I understand.
Yeah.
But your mom is 90 years old.
Yeah.
Your great-grandma lived to be 101 years old. Her
My
mom,
104.
104. So you
Yeah.
have longevity in your family. Knowing that you have potentially longevity, are you scared to get old?
Oh, yes.
What scares you the most about it?
I don't want people to have to take care of me. I want to be able to be strong as long as I could. I don't mind people helping me, but it's very hard for me to accept help.
So you're still stubborn.
Yep.
You're like Todd and Ryan. Let's talk about your beliefs. Now that you're 72, how do you view death? Is it something that you're afraid of, or is it something that you understand is just part of life and you accept it?
I just feel it's part of life, and you accept it for what it is.
Do you believe that there is something afterward?
I do.
Do you believe that there's a God?
I do.
I think that's important to ask, because as a society, we've gotten away from religion.
Right.
And it's not that religion doesn't exist, it still exists. But it's important, especially, to know where you stand as you get older and
Right.
as your beliefs start to evolve for the next 20 years. What do you want?
That's a hard question because I feel like I've done everything I've wanted.
Do you want to travel?
I really don't want to travel a lot. I mean, once in a while is okay, but nowadays it's gotten so congested and so scary to get on a plane. The whole atmosphere of the airport is crazy. I mean, you can't even walk down the aisle without somebody running you over or push you out of the way to get to their flight. They don't care. They have no respect.
So I know you don't want to fly.
I don't mind flying. It's just more difficult.
Yeah. What about traveling? I know you can't drive anymore because you're partially blind in one eye.
Yep.
Is there any activities that you want to learn how to do?
I want to play pickleball.
You want to learn how to play pickleball?
I'm sorry.
I have all the pickleball stuff. I will go and play. I do not know how to play either.
I think it's almost like badminton,
Yep.
but it's also like tennis. I've never been a tennis player, so I don't know. But I've watched it a few times on TV, and it's like, I probably could hit that ball.
I will take you to play pickleball, Mom. We will learn together. All right. Well, I really do appreciate you taking time to do this interview.
Yeah.
I know it's a little awkward because it's something different.
Oh.
But I think it's important to share who you are and give a description of your life.
Right.
Whether it be for family members or other people who just want to view the video, it's a way for your legacy to live on. And it gives an opportunity for the next generations to see who you were and put a voice to a name that maybe they might hear.
Right.
It gives them a little bit of background and history, and it's important to share that. It's one more
Oh,
way
yeah.
that you get to live on forever.
Oh, yeah. I just don't think I've done anything exceptional that should be of a great nature of any kind. I'm a person. I dealt with my life, and I'll die, and that'll be it.
But that's a humble statement, and you've
But
raised,
that doesn't.
you were able to contribute to this world. You've raised 3 boys. You have helped hundreds and hundreds of students learn how to
Yeah.
read. You've impacted the world more than you will ever know. You really have. And if you actually think about it, you've probably impacted the world more than most people do. And you should be proud of that.
I don't have any bad feelings towards it. I just feel it's a normal thing.
Yeah,
I don't mean,
you didn't
know,
create Amazon, Mom.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Too bad, huh?
And you're not going to the moon.
Right.
But what you did do is more important than anything that they've done.
Yeah.
And you really should be proud of yourself. And I am so proud that you're my mother, and I love you.
I love you too.